Next, NASA says its Voyager 1 probe, the most distant human-made object in the universe, is sending usable information to Earth again.
More than 45 years after it left Earth, Voyager 1, one of the most amazing space probes ever sent into space, is still sending us information from the edge of our solar system. It has gone into the strange world of interstellar space, farther than any item made by humans. The spacecraft has given us new information about the universe that we didn't have before. But recently, Voyager 1 sent back information that made scientists feel even more amazed, curious, and even worried. There was a strange object in space that it had found. Please remember to like and subscribe to our channel before we begin if you want to see more videos. Voyager 1 made the discovery as it passed through the heliopause, which is the line where the sun's impact ends and interstellar space starts. Voyager 1's main job has been to study this area between space and the transition zone. However, it recently found an object that it hadn't seen before, which makes us wonder what it could be. The object, which seems to be hiding in the cold, faraway reaches of space, has never been seen before in any science models. Its shape, size, and nature are still unknown, which has led to excitement and guesswork about what Voyager may first have seen. Scientists were interested in the object because early readings from the probe showed that it was sending out weak electromagnetic signals. Space signs that are electromagnetic can come from many places, like pulsars, quasars, or even the leftovers of very old cosmic events like supernovae. Voyager 1 saw something, though, that didn't seem to fit into any of these known events. It wasn't a normal pulsar or a known celestial body, and the signal it left behind pointed to something much stranger and more mysterious. The object's signal was made up of random waves of energy that seemed to be coming from a single location. There was no match between the pulses and the pulsars or quasars emissions, which are some of the brightest things in the universe. Instead, this new object moved around in strange ways, almost like it was reacting to its surroundings. The instruments on Voyager 1 picked up these messages as it went through a part of space that had looked mostly empty up until now. This added to the puzzle. The way electromagnetic waves work is one of the most surprising things about this finding. Scientists noticed that these waves had a frequency that had never been seen before in interstellar space. The waves weren't in the frequency range that you'd normally find in natural cosmic events, and they didn't look like radio bursts from known sources in space. This led to ideas that the object might be something completely different, maybe an event that makes us question what we know about astronomy and how interstellar space is put together. As experts try to make sense of the data, a number of options have come to light. One of the most interesting ideas is that the object might be made of a very strange kind of matter that doesn't follow the rules of physics as we know them. In theoretical physics, ideas about strange matter have been around for years, but they have never been directly seen. Voyager may first have picked up some strange signs that point to the presence of matter that interacts with the universe in ways that make current models less likely to be true. Some experts have also said that the item might be a piece of the early universe, left over from events that happened soon after the Big Bang. This could be the case, and the object could give us a unique look into the early universe, showing us how galaxies, stars, and planets formed. The finding is even more exciting because Voyager may first have found an ancient artifact that has never been studied before. Another interesting idea is that the object might have been made in a lab. Though the idea of technology from other worlds has been the subject of fantasy and speculation for a long time, the unusual nature of the signals Voyager 1 picked up makes people wonder about the chance of intelligent design. Could this be a probe or item that a culture from another planet left behind a long time ago? Some experts are thinking about this idea because there aren't any similar natural events. However, at this point, it's just a guess. If the object were man-made, it would be the first proof of technology from other planets, which could completely change how people think about their place in the world. If this kind of finding were made, it would mean that other civilizations have advanced technology and may have explored parts of the world that humans are just now starting to understand. Even though there isn't any direct proof to back this theory, the object's mystery has left the door open to this exciting idea. The fact that Earth is so far away from Voyager 1 makes the study more difficult. Since it is more than 14 billion miles away, the probe is out of reach for scientists to help it right now. Talking to Voyager 1 takes more than 20 hours each way, so any new orders or instructions to look into the object must be carefully thought out and carried out slowly. Additionally, Voyager 1's tools, even though very advanced for their time, are not able to provide a thorough study of such a faraway and unusual object. Scientists haven't let this technology limitation stop them from finishing their research. It is being tried to better understand the data that Voyager 1 has sent back by making new models and simulations. Scientists are looking for trends in the electromagnetic signatures to try to figure out what kind of information is being hidden and learn more about the item. But for now, the object is still a mystery. Voyager 1 is the only one who has seen it as it floats somewhere in the vastness of interstellar space. In the meantime, the discovery has sparked new interest in the larger goal of studying space between stars. Voyager 1 was sent into space to study the planets beyond the solar system's edge. However, its longer journey has opened up new areas of study in space beyond the solar system's edge. This object's finding shows how little we really know about the space between the stars. The stars and planets that make up our galaxy can be seen and understood in some ways, but the huge gaps in space between them are still mostly unknown. Voyager 1 found an object that might also tell us something about the basic nature of the world. It could be a part of a bigger structure in the universe that we haven't found yet, or it could give us new information about the forces that control the universe. Some scientists have even thought that the object might have something to do with dark matter or dark energy, two of the universe's stranger and less well understood parts. If this were true, the discovery would be a huge step forward in our understanding of how reality works. The fact that the object is located so far outside of the solar system makes us wonder how these kinds of things can form and survive in outer space. Was it something that came from inside the Milky Way, or could it have been something from another galaxy? Even less is known about intergalactic space, which is the huge empty space between galaxies. The item could help us learn more about what lies beyond our galaxy. It's possible that Voyager 1 has found an object from another galaxy. If this is true, it would be one of the first straight meetings with something from outside the Milky Way. As scientists try to figure out what the discovery by Voyager 1 means, one thing is clear: the world is much weirder and more complicated than they thought. When an unknown object is found, it pushes the limits of what people think they know and opens the door to a new age of travel and discovery. The discovery of the object, whether it's a strange form of matter, a relic from the beginning of the universe, or something completely different, serves as a warning that the universe still has a lot of secrets to be solved. This find is also proof of how the Voyager missions have left a lasting impact. Voyager 1, which was launched in 1977, has long since gone beyond the limits of its original mission, but it is still making important findings. A spacecraft created and built with technology from the 1970s is still making important scientific advances more than 40 years later. This shows how creative and forward-thinking the mission was. The fact that this item was found by Voyager 1 is another part of humanity's ongoing quest to understand the world. The run-in with this object also shows how important it is to keep funding space research. Voyager 1 found a strange item in outer space that could change the way we think about things. This shows how much we still need to learn. A lot of attention is usually paid to missions closer to home, like those that explore Mars or the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. This finding, however, serves as a reminder that the farthest areas of space may hold some of the most deep solutions to humanity's most important questions. Over the next few years, as Voyager 1 continues its trip and scientists look into the data more deeply, they may learn more about the object's nature, where it came from, and what it might mean. These will be looked into and talked about for a long time. Future space trips could even be made with the specific goal of learning more about interstellar space. These missions would use the most up-to-date technology to build on Voyager 1's groundbreaking discovery. For now, the object is still a riddle that scientists, experts, and regular people are all interested in. It's a sobering warning that the universe is still very big and not very well understood, even with all the progress in science and technology. Voyager 1's finding has opened a door to the unknown. People are now standing at the doorway, eager to find out what's on the other side. Finding this item also makes people think about their place in the universe in a more general way. Is humanity the only intelligent species in the universe? If so, could they make or come across things like the one Voyager 1 reported? Finding such a mysterious object makes us think not only about the world, but also about whether there is life beyond Earth and what that might mean for our future. One of the most interesting things about this finding is what part the object might play in the bigger picture of how the universe has changed over time. If this thing really does come from the beginning of the universe, it could help us understand how the first stars and galaxies formed. Astrophysicists are very interested in anything that can be used to learn more about the early stages of the universe's past, because a lot of it is still too dark to see directly. The discovery by Voyager 1 could be like a cosmic skeleton, giving us secret information about the world right after the Big Bang. Scientists could improve models that show how matter first came together to form the structures we see today by looking at things that came from the beginning of the world. For instance, the discovery could show how some cosmic structures, like galaxy halos, came to be, how dark matter helped shape the universe, or even how black holes may have changed the way matter was distributed in the early universe. If this item is from that time, it might have markings on it that tell us about these formative times and help us solve problems that have been stumping cosmologists for decades. Another important conclusion has to do with what interstellar space is really like. Voyager 1's trip into interstellar space in 2012 was the first straight way for experts to study this area. The heliopause, which is the line between the solar wind and the interstellar medium, wasn't well understood, and the area beyond it wasn't known either. Most of what we know about interstellar space comes from looking at stars and galaxies far away. Voyager 1 is the first spacecraft to take readings in real time from inside this mostly uncharted area. Finding the item brings up important questions about what might be in interstellar space. People have usually thought that interstellar space is mostly empty, with few particles, atoms, and cosmic radiation moving around. But the fact that Voyager 1 ran into this object says that space may not be as empty as was once thought. There may be more buildings, phenomena, or things living in these areas than was thought before. This discovery could be the first of many like it, which suggests that interstellar space has more matter than we thought. This matter could be the remains of long-dead stars or other kinds of cosmic junk. The finding by Voyager 1 could also lead to a new look at how interstellar matter affects the future of spaceflight for humans. Long-term projects could face both problems and chances if there are more things, particles, or events moving through space between the stars. A spacecraft going very fast might have to avoid these things, but they could also be used for study or exploring. Finding out about the things that exist between stars could even help design new ways to move things around. For example, interstellar objects could be used as markers or as supplies for long journeys. It's possible that the object found could be a new type of matter. This brings up the old question of whether the standard model of physics is good enough to explain how complicated the world is. In the past, the standard model was a good way to understand the basic forces and particles that make up the universe. But new findings from particle reactors and astronomical readings suggest that it may not be the whole story. If the item is some kind of strange matter, it would be direct proof of things that the normal model can't fully explain. This could lead to the creation of new theories that combine parts of general relativity, quantum physics, and even string theory in ways that help us learn more about the most basic parts of the world. Strange matter might be the key to understanding things like dark matter, dark energy, or how spacetime behaves at the quantum level. These are all ideas that are just guesses right now, but if strange matter is seen directly, they could become much more real. The finding of the object could also lead to a fresh look at how matter works with the universe's basic forces. For instance, if this object is made up of subatomic particles that we didn't know about before or acts in ways that go against what we normally think about gravity and electromagnetism, It could help us learn more about how these forces work on a cosmic scale. In turn, this could have big effects on areas as different as particle physics, astronomy, and even the search for new energy sources. Finding this strange thing makes us think about more than just science. It makes us think about philosophy as well. People have long wondered if they are the only ones in the world, and this new finding adds to the discussion. There isn't any clear proof that the object is connected to life on other planets, but it's not impossible that it isn't. If the item is confirmed to be man-made or shows signs of having been planned, it would completely change how we think about the universe and our place in it. The thought of running into an alien treasure in deep space, especially on a spaceship launched from Earth, sounds like something out of a science fiction story. But this discovery makes it seem more likely that such a thing could happen. If there are or have been other societies in the universe, it makes us wonder how far they may have gone, what kind of technology they might have made, and if they left any signs of their existence in different parts of the universe. Whether or not the item is real, the fact that it exists is a warning of how much we still don't know. As a species, we are still just beginning to learn about our cosmic neighbors. The trip of Voyager 1 has taught us a lot, but it is still just one probe, and its old technology limits what it can do. Future missions might have better tools to find, study, and even deal with these kinds of things, which could help answer questions that are still open today. The finding is also a stark warning of how hard it will be for humans to become a species that lives across the stars. Even though Voyager 1 has done a lot of amazing things, it is still a lonely pioneer moving through space. People will have to face the facts of long-term spaceflight, interstellar dangers, and the unknowns that lie in the darkness between the stars if they ever want to follow in its footsteps. Another thing that the object might do is make us rethink how we describe and understand the idea of life in the world. Another possibility is that it is not a planet or star, nor is it an alien artifact. This could mean that there is a third answer that questions our ideas about what life, intelligence, or even existence looks like on a cosmic scale. The finding could lead to a lot more theory research into different kinds of life or intelligence that don't fit our Earth-centered ideas of what they are. For instance, some experts think that life might exist in forms that are so different from ours that we might not even know it is life. Some examples of these are animals that live in space, do well in places we think are not suitable for them, or even work on different physical principles than we do. The discovery of this object may not instantly lead to these ideas, but it does start a conversation about what kinds of things we should be looking for as we explore the world. In a real sense, the discovery also shows how important it is for space technology to keep getting better. Voyager 1 is an old spaceship that has done a lot more than anyone expected. However, there will come a time when it can't talk to Earth anymore. Finding this strange object shows how important it is to put money into more projects like Voyager that can build on its work and help us learn more about the universe. It's clear how important it is to make new spaceships that can keep exploring space between stars. It's possible that these future probes will last longer, carry more advanced equipment, and go farther and faster than Voyager 1. These kinds of projects could not only help us learn more about this object, but they could also help us learn more about parts of space that we can't reach now. As technology keeps getting better, it's possible that one day people will be able to send probes to other star systems that can reach them in our lives. These robots could have artificial intelligence on board, which would let them make choices on their own as they explore the unknowns of deep space. They could also be made so that they can look at things like the one Voyager 1 found in much more depth. The discovery could also make people more interested in trips that aim to bring back samples from space. This might seem like a far-fetched idea, but it is not impossible with today's technology. Sample return trips have already been done to the Moon, Mars, and comets and been successful. As people's skills improve, it's not impossible to imagine a time when spaceships could bring back samples from beyond the stars. These samples could help us figure out what the item is made of and where it came from by giving us a clear look at the materials and forces that shaped it. Finding the object also shows how important it is for countries to work together on space research. The tools and knowledge needed to discover new areas get more difficult as the distances get longer. The finding made by Voyager 1 is a reminder that understanding the universe is a goal for all of mankind, not just one country. Future attempts to look into objects between stars will probably need the help of many countries working together, sharing their science and technological resources to make it happen. People are also more interested in space science because of the mysteries surrounding the object. Many people around the world are interested in things they don't know, and Voyager 1's discovery taps into this deep human desire to learn more about the universe. Many people are already interested in this finding. Amateur scientists, space fans, and even people who don't know much about science want to know more about what lies beyond the solar system. This makes us remember that space travel isn't just for experts, but for people from all walks of life as well. One of the first things that researchers are thinking about is how this finding might change the way we think about the universe, especially outer space. People used to think that the vast spaces between stars were lonely and mostly empty, but Voyager 1's discovery hints that interstellar space may be more complicated than we thought. For many years, scientists thought that the environment would stay mostly the same beyond the heliopause, which is the line where the solar wind stops being the main force. They thought that cosmic rays, interstellar dust, and scattered gas would be the main forces. But the fact that an object can be found there goes against these ideas and says that interstellar space could be home to many strange things. We can see from Voyager 1's discovery that this part of space is home to more than just cosmic radiation and particles. It may also be home to things and forces that we are just starting to understand. The fact that these kinds of things might be pretty common makes us wonder about the processes that make them. How do these shapes appear out of nothing? Are they leftovers from events in stars or galaxies, or do they come from something else in the universe that we haven't seen yet? The finding made by Voyager 1 might only be the tip of the iceberg. This means that the huge gaps between stars could hold a lot of stuff that hasn't been seen before. Astronomers will probably look at and improve models of how the interstellar medium moves as they try to find answers. These models try to show how gas, dust, and radiation behave in the space between stars. If things like the one Voyager 1 found are more common than scientists thought, they might have to rethink how these kinds of materials interact and come together in space between the stars. Current models are based on the idea that forces like supernova blasts, stellar winds, and the gravitational pull of faraway stars shape the space between the stars. But if there are denser or more organized things in this medium, we would have to change how we think about how matter acts when it is not affected by a solar system. The find could also help us understand cosmic magnetic fields, which are very important in creating the space between stars. These fields are made by charged particles moving through space. The birth and death of stars and the movement of galaxies can change these fields. The way things like the one Voyager 1 found interact with the magnetic fields of interstellar space could help us understand how these unseen forces help organize matter on a cosmic scale. It's possible that learning how magnetic fields affect strange things could lead to new discoveries about spacetime itself. Magnetic forces, in particular, could make it impossible for anything to live in space between the stars. Voyager may first have found a magnetic signal that is unique to it, or it may have interacted with space in a way that lets it keep its shape over long distances. We might learn more about how matter, energy, and electric forces behave in the universe's farther away and less studied areas if this turns out to be true. It also makes us wonder if these interactions have anything to do with the creation of bigger structures in space, like nebulae or the threads that connect galaxies. Another interesting theory is that the object Voyager 1 saw could be a cosmic rogue, which is a space rock that doesn't belong to any star or galaxy and just floats around. Planets and stars that go their own way have been thought of for a long time. They are sometimes called nomads of the cosmos. It is thought that these objects formed inside solar systems but were thrown out by gravity forces or other violent events, where they are now drifting through space by themselves. Could this thing be an errant object that's going around the galaxy without a clear home? If so, studying it could give us unique information about these hard-to-find objects. It might even help us figure out how many of them there are in the Milky Way and whether they have any effect on how the galaxy has changed over time. Rogue objects are very interesting because they make us question the idea that stars and planets need a solar system to exist. How do these things stay alive in the cold, empty space without the light and heat from a parent star? Do they still have parts of their original system, or have they changed to survive in the hard conditions of interstellar space? Scientists may look into these questions with more energy now that Voyager 1 has found an unknown object. The probe's data may eventually help prove the existence of more wandering celestial bodies. The finding by Voyager 1 could also lead to completely new kinds of cosmic events that scientists have not yet seen. The world is full of strange things and forces, and many of them are still just ideas. This finding could lead to the discovery of things that don't fit our current ideas of what stars, planets, or even black holes are. Dark matter is a material that makes up about 27% of the universe but has never been directly seen. This could be a type of dark matter. Dark matter doesn't give off, absorb, or reflect light, which makes it very hard to find using normal scientific means. If this object is made of dark matter, it could be the first clear proof of this hard-to-find substance, giving us a look into one of the biggest mysteries in the world. The fact that dark matter might be linked to this finding makes things a lot more important. People think that dark matter interacts with normal matter through gravity, but other than that, not much is known. It is very important for keeping galaxies together and has an effect on how they form and how they are structured. If Voyager 1 finds an object made of dark matter, it will give scientists a chance to study this matter in more depth that has never been seen before. Researchers might finally start to understand what dark matter is and how it affects the universe by looking at how the object behaves, how it interacts with particles around it, and how it affects space close by. On the other hand, some experts are thinking that this object might be a black hole that is very different from the ones we know about, maybe even a primordial black hole. Primordial black holes are made-up things that might have existed right after the Big Bang, when the universe was expanding very quickly. Unlike normal black holes, which are made when stars collapse, primordial black holes might have been made when the density of matter changed quickly at the start of the universe. If this thing really is a primordial black hole, it might be a leftover from the very beginning of time, giving us a unique look into the early stages of the universe's formation. Looking at something so old could help us understand the basic forces that formed the universe, like how gravity and quantum physics worked together in the beginning of the universe. People also think that primordial black holes might help explain dark matter because the amount and location of them could explain some of the mass that we can't see yet. The discovery of one in outer space would be a huge step forward in our knowledge of the universe's early times and help us make connections between events that happened billions of years ago. The fact that Voyager 1 found this object also makes people curious about what lies beyond interstellar space. The probe is going to intergalactic space, which is even less known and explored than the space between stars. It is thought that intergalactic space is even less dense than interstellar space, with very few hydrogen and helium atoms spread out over very long distances. Still, if things can exist between stars, then it makes sense that similar or even stranger things could exist between galaxies. The present path of Voyager 1 could take it to these faraway worlds in the future. Who knows what secrets might be waiting there? Exploring space between galaxies and maybe finding more things like the one Voyager 1 found could completely change how we think about how galaxies talk to each other. People often think of galaxies as separate islands in the vastness of space, but they are actually linked by huge structures made of dark matter and gas, which are called cosmic filaments. People think that these strands are very important for how galaxies form and change over time. If there are things or events in intergalactic space that we haven't seen yet, it could change what we think we know about these huge cosmic structures and how they affect the big picture of the universe. There may be unknown things in intergalactic space, which also makes us think about the future of space travel. Even though traveling between stars is already a big dream, traveling between galaxies is even bigger. It would take millions of years for even the most powerful spaceship we can think of to travel between galaxies because they are so far apart. Finding new items in intergalactic space, on the other hand, could pave the way for further research. If there are more structures or events spread out between galaxies, they could be used as stopping places for long-term journeys, giving scientists a chance to study them and maybe even take resources from them. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.